and I hope you're ready for maths today. We are starting a new topic today. So we're starting to look at measurements, and we're going to be looking at measuring length today. So we're going to be looking all about length for a few lessons now. So length is talking about how short or long something is. We did lots of this last year when something is short and when it's long, okay? And we're going to be using something called estimating, okay? Because we're going to be measuring and looking at how tall and short things are as well. We're going to be looking at length and we're going to be looking at height. We're going to be looking at how tall and how short things are, and we're going to be using a non-standard unit of measure to help us with our estimating. Now that means that we're not necessarily actually measuring the things, we're making a guess. Okay, and I'll explain more about that in a second. Let's do our do now and see if we remember our learning from last time. Now we started looking at clockwise and anti-clockwise turns. Now can you tell me which of these has been turned quarter a turn clockwise and quarter a turn anti-clockwise? Which of the frog has gone quarter a turn anti-clockwise and which of the robots has done quarter a turn clockwise? You're going to put me on pause. All you need to do is point to the correct robot. Okay, putting me on pause now. Fantastic. Okay, what do we think? Which of these robots has made quarter a turn clockwise? You are right. Well done. It is the robot on the left, because when we look at his head should have reached this point here. So this is the robot that's done quarter a turn clockwise. What about the frog then? Can it be this frog? No. Why can't it be that frog? Because he's made a half turn. Very good. So it's got to be this one. How do we know that it's gone anti-clockwise? Well done, because the eyes needed to reach this point here, and we can see that they have. Fantastic. So like I say, today we are doing estimates of measurement. We're going to be looking at length and height, and we're going to be figuring out how to estimate today. So what is estimating? Well, estimating is when we think we know the answer and we make a guess. We try and make a guess as close to the exact answer as we can, and that's called making a smart estimate. For example, if Miss Banfield was estimating how long her door is, she wouldn't say that it's one hand tall, because that would be a bit of a silly estimate. She'd need to estimate a larger number to accommodate the size of the object, okay? Now, when we're estimating, we don't know the answer, okay? And we're trying to figure out what the answer is, okay? And some of the language that we use when we're estimating are things like this. About. I think it is about this length. Nearly. I think it's nearly this length. I think it's almost the tallest. I think it's roughly the shortest. Okay, so we are estimating and making sure that we make a guess and we try and make a smart guess. Fantastic. So today we're looking at length and height. Okay, so we're going to be looking at length, which is how long or short something is, and height, which is how short or tall something is. So can you say long, short, tall, length, height? Fantastic. So we're looking at how tall or short this chair is. Okay, and we're going to be using something called hands measurement. Here's your hand. Can you put your hand up for me? Now this is a non-standard unit of measure, because if you hold up your hand might be a very different size to my hand, but they're going to be roughly similar sizes. Okay, and when we're measuring using a non-standard measurement, we're not actually going to get the correct answer, because if we all measured using our hands, we might end up with different answers. So we're making estimates with our hands, okay? So we're going to measure using our hands today. Have you all got a hand? Have you got more than one hand? Fantastic. So we're going to be using our hands today. We're also going to be using our feet. Now, Miss Bamford's not going to get her foot out, but you both all got feet that you could use. Now, you're using this, but you're not actually going to put your hand next to the things we're measuring. You're just going to look at it and think about how many an object might be. And this is what I mean by this. When I think about this blue chair, this is a chair that we've got in school, okay? Now, this chair isn't here in front of me, but I've got to remember the chair that's at school, okay? And if I hold up my hand, I can think about how many hands tall my chair might be. So if I'm thinking and putting one hand on top of the other, I can think about how many it could be. So I'm going to have an estimate. I'm going to estimate how many hands tall I think the chair is. Now, I've put one hand down there to help you, okay? Because that might be just about the size of a hand near this chair. So if I was putting one on top of the other, I might think that this chair is about, I might say, I think it's about 5 hands tall. Okay, so that is the estimate I've made. Okay, now someone else made a different estimate. Let's see if their estimate is the same as mine. Aha, so someone else estimated differently. How many did they estimate it was? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so they thought it was 4 hands tall. So these are very good estimates for our chair. Okay, would we say it's 50 hands tall? No, because if you get your hand, imagine 50 of your hands. That would be way taller than a chair, wouldn't it? So we're going to get our hand and we're going to measure using our hand, okay? So no, we don't put it near the chair, we're just imagining it. So I thought it was 5 hands tall, but someone else thought it was 4. Now these are very good estimates using our hand measurement. So let's see if we can estimate for something else. Okay, this is a lamp. Now, if I think about how tall or short a lamp is, this is a desk lamp, okay? Now, you might have a desk lamp in your house or you might not. Desk lamp is definitely shorter than a chair. When I think about a chair, I think a desk lamp is definitely shorter than a chair. So I'm going to bear that in mind when I think about how many hands tall my lamp might be. Now I've put a hand there next to the lamp to help us a little bit. How many hands do I think it might be? Well, I think it could be 3 hands tall. I think it might be 3 hands. I think it might be 3 of my hands tall. And when I'm estimating my measurement, I'm putting one hand and another and then another. So I think the lamp would be about that. 1, 2, 3. Have I made a good estimate? I think I have. I think it's going to be roughly about 3 hands tall. Okay, let's see what someone else estimated. When they put their hands, they thought that it wasn't quite 3 hands. So they actually thought it was 2.5 hands tall. They thought it was 2.5. So they thought it was 2 and 1/2. And we know all about halves because we did halves last week. Now, would we be able to chop our hand in half? No, we wouldn't. So is 2.5 a sensible estimate? What do you think? We'd say probably not a sensible estimate, absolutely, because are we going to be chopping our hand in half? No, so it's close, it's between 2 and 3, so we'd either guess 2 or we'd guess 3. Fantastic. Okay, you're going to have a go. Lots of you might have a hoover in your house, and you can look at your hoover in your house to help you. But I think if I'm thinking about hoover, lots of hoovers might be a different size, but I'm going to think about this hoover that's on my screen now. Now this hoover, how many hands tall do we think this hoover might be? Now I've got one hand here. Now I'm imagining putting my hands one on top of the other. Why am I imagining putting my hands one on top of the other? Because it's going to help me make an estimate, absolutely. So I think this is, what do you think it might be? 5, maybe it could be 5 hands tall. 6, that's another good estimate. 10, do we think it's quite 10 hands tall? That would be quite tall. Maybe not, okay. 2, no, they wouldn't be 2 hands tall. That would be a very tiny hoover, wouldn't it? It'd only be that size. So how many hands do we think? Okay, we're going to go with 7. All right. You think it might be 7 hands tall. Remember, we've made an estimate. Let's see if we think our estimate is sensible. What did someone else guess? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, they said 5. What do we think about their estimate? Maybe it depends on the hoover, absolutely. Depends how big their hand is, absolutely. So anything less than 5 would be not a very accurate estimate. But I reckon between 5 and 7 is a pretty good estimate for how tall or short the hoover is. Fantastic. All right, a bit of a bigger one this time. So our hands are a bit smaller because they're against a large object. Okay. Now, do we think this is a tall or a short object? Well, it depends what we'd be comparing it to, but I'd say doors are normally quite tall. So, how many do we estimate the door is going to be? How many hands tall do we think the door might be? We're having a think. 15, I think that's a bit of a large estimate. 2 would be too small. Maybe 9, possibly. What do you think? 11, maybe. 10, 12, 8. These are good estimates, guys. What should we go with? Okay, I'm going to put 11 down. And that might not be the one that you said, but let's see. So someone else had a bit of an estimate. How many did they get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they thought 8. Well, I think it would depend on the door and how big your hands are. I think if Miss Bamford put her hands against the door, I think I'd have less hands than if you put your hands against the door. So I think that 8 is maybe a bit of a small estimate, but it depends on the size of the hands. I think that 20 would be far too many. Okay. All right. Now, we've looked at height. Now we need to look at length. Now, when we're looking at length, instead of using our hands, we're going to be thinking about the size of our feet. Okay. Now, when you think of our feet, are our feet all different sizes? Yes, they are. But we're going to roughly estimate the size of this rug. Now, Miss Bamford's put 1 foot next to the rug. So if we're thinking about how long this rug could be, how many feet long do I think this rug might be? Well, I think we've got 1, maybe 2, 3, 4. I think that maybe it's 5 feet long. I think that the rug is 5 feet long. Now, some rugs are longer than others, but I think that this rug might be roughly about 5 feet long. Okay, I'm going to see what someone else guessed. Oh, they made the same guess as me. They thought it was roughly 5 feet long. Now, we've made an estimate on the rug. Have we actually measured the rug? No, we haven't. We've made an estimate. We've made a sensible guess. Fantastic. Would 10 be a sensible guess for this rug? No, it wouldn't. Why would it not be a sensible guess? Well, because it would bring us far longer than the rug. Well done. Fantastic. Okay. Now this is a table. Now, if you look at my foot there, this table is definitely longer than that rug. Okay. So having a think about my foot, how many feet long do we think the table might be? So we're going to estimate how many we think it might be. I think it might be, I think maybe 7, 8. What do you guys think? 10? It could be 10. 2? No, it wouldn't be 2. Well done. That would be a silly estimate. What do we think about 20? Far too long. Well done. What about 7? Maybe 7. Some of us are thinking 6, 10, 9. Okay, what should we put down? All right, I'm going to put down 8. So we think it's maybe roughly 8 feet long. Okay, should we have a look? All right, let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They estimated about 8 as well. Fantastic. Did you make an estimate? Yes, you did. Was it an accurate estimate? I'd say so, because we made a sensible choice with our number. Fantastic. Okay, so now that we know how to estimate using our hands and feet, we can compare different objects and we can decide which is the tallest and the shortest of these objects. So if Miss Banfield is comparing the height of the hoover and the lamp, I definitely think that the tallest object is the hoover, because when I was using my hands, it was definitely more hands than the lamp. Is that an accurate estimate? I'd say it is an accurate estimate comparing the heights, because have we actually measured? We haven't. We've made a good guess. The lamp definitely looks shorter than the hoover. Okay, can you have a go? What do we think is going to be the tallest? The door or the lamp? You think the door. Why do you think the door's the tallest? Because it looks taller. It does look taller. And if we were to measure it with our hands, what do we think? You think it would be more hands than the lamp? I think you would be absolutely right. Is this a good estimate, thinking that the door's tallest then? It is a good estimate. We're making an accurate estimate on which is the tallest here. Fantastic. Okay, let's think a little bit about length. Now remember, Miss Banfield had this rug and this table. Now yours might be different when you go to do your worksheet, but let's think about this table and this rug. Which do we estimate is the longest? What do we estimate might be the longest? Oh, I'm hearing lots of different answers. What do we think? Rug. Why do we think rug? Oh, we don't think rug. Well done. Because the rug is shorter than the table, and we estimate it's shorter because when we look at them together, it is a little bit shorter than the table. I'd say if we were putting our feet down, it looks a little bit shorter, which makes what the longest? The table. Well done. We estimate that the table is longer because when we look at it, it definitely looks the longest. Fantastic. Okay, bit of a different one. I'm thinking of a tree. Now, we know trees are different heights, but I'm thinking about this tree and a book. Books are different sizes too. But if we were to estimate which is the shortest, oh, that's not a very good spelling of shortest. Oh dear, how do we spell shortest? Shh. Or, well done, est. Very good. We've got to check. There we go, shortest. Which do we estimate is the shortest? Well, what do we think? Can it be the tree? Why can it not be the tree? Because trees are really tall. They are really tall. And what would happen if we brought a book next to the tree? What do we think? We'd see that the book is the shortest. Very good. And why is this a good estimate? It's a good estimate because we've been using our eyes, and if we would put our hands, I think it would take quite a few hands to make the tree's height. Very good. Fantastic. Okay, last one. Now we're imagining a bookcase. Okay, we're imagining this bookcase with books on it and an apple. So, thinking of the whole picture, what do we think the tallest in this picture is? And what do we think the shortest is? Interesting question. So you've got to find the tallest and the shortest in this picture. Now remember, it's the whole picture. Okay, so you're going to put me on pause, have a little think, and then unpause me. Putting me on pause, finding the tallest and finding the shortest. Remember, we're estimating. Putting me on pause now. Okay, what do we think the tallest is? We think some of the books are quite tall, absolutely, but are they the tallest thing in this picture? No, what is the tallest? The bookcase. Well done. The bookcase is definitely the tallest because it has all these different things in it and none of them are the same height as the bookcase. Fantastic. So what do we think the shortest might be? Oh, it could be a few things. It could be the books. Very good. Maybe the apple. I think there was two options here. I think possibly the apple or these very tiny books down here. Remember, books come in different sizes. Did you guess one of those? Very good. That was a bit of a trick question, that one. Which one was the shortest? Because this looks like a rather large apple, but we know that apples are quite short, aren't they, in comparison? But some books are very tiny as well. So well done, everyone. Okay, so for your worksheet today, you are going to be estimating measurements. You're going to be estimating height and you're going to be estimating length. Okay, now you can pick things in your house. Miss Bamford might pick some for you to look at, but they might be different to the picture on the sheet. So if Miss Bamford picks a chair, you can choose a chair in your house. It doesn't have to look exactly like my chair or the door, but it might be similar. And then you can pick your own things to estimate using feet and hands. Remember, we're looking for tall and we're looking for short. We're trying to decide which is tall, which is short, and which is long. Good luck with your estimating, guys. Bye.